I read my first Romina Garber book, and it was filled with Argentinian awesomeness. Stick around, and I'll tell you all about it. Hello readers! I received Lobizona as an e-arc on NetGalley, so thank you to NetGalley. Shortly afterwards, I received an email from Wednesday Books, and they offered me a physical arc. I was really excited about that because I wanted to be able to highlight things and tab. I didn't tab a ton, but I felt like I could interact with the text a little bit better, so I'm glad that they sent this to me. Thank you very much. And then Wednesday Books did send me a finished copy of Lobizona shortly after it launched. The illustration on the cover is gorgeous. I love the moon. When you take off the cover and you see the book naked, the stars and the moon on the hardcover, it is just so nice. Then the end papers have the different locations that are in the book. It's gorgeous. I don't know what else to say. The hardcover is absolutely gorgeous. So thank you so much to Wednesday Books for sending that to me. This is the first book in the Wolves of No World series. Lobizona is a YA fantasy based on Argentinian folklore, and it tackles quite a few different topics. The main character, Manu, has immigrated to the United States with her mom, and they're currently hiding out in Miami. Manu is not like other kids. She actually has stars for pupils, so she always has to wear sunglasses to make sure that nobody sees her eyes. She doesn't really have much explanation for why that's the case, but her and her mom, again, are hiding out. They are currently undocumented, and they're hiding out from Manu's father's crime family, so they're trying to avoid ICE. They're trying to avoid being discovered by her father's crime family. The story does not shy away from showing the reality that some immigrants may experience while living in the US undocumented. Manu lives with her surrogate grandmother, Perla, and Perla spends a lot of time just teaching Manu things while she's at home. There is a story that Perla had told her about sevens, and that the seventh son of every family would end up being a werewolf, and the seventh female would be a witch. So the story does include werewolves and witches, but it's very separated in that way that werewolves are male and the witches are female. Very early on, Perla is attacked, and then all these things start happening. Manu starts asking a lot of questions. She ends up having to leave and to flee, and she winds up in some unexpected situations. Outside of reading the physical copy, I also listened to the audiobook, and I just want to talk for a minute about how awesome the audiobook was. From the minute you start it, you can tell that the narrator does have an accent, which I felt helped to add to the authenticity of the story and the culture that was being presented. Lobizona is narrated by Sol Madariaga. She is a trilingual actress from Buenos Aires, Argentina, and she does an excellent job narrating the story. I think the really big thing here is that Argentinians have a very distinctive accent. They pronounce words very different, with like a sh sound to a lot of the words. And I'm not Argentinian, but I loved that I can hear that. I love that that was considered when putting together this audiobook. I know I've seen other Latinx creators kind of complain. I don't think it's really uncomfortable to listen to an audiobook that clearly has Spanish in it, and then the narrator just can't get the accent right or doesn't speak it well enough. And it just kind of pulls you out of the story a little bit. So I loved that this was narrated by someone from Argentina. Something that I noticed in Lobizona that I haven't come across too much in other books is that they normalized having periods. There was several mentions of, you know, having a period, dealing with a period, having to change a tampon, just things that women do have to think about, and I love that it was in there. So yes, please, let's continue to normalize that, because that is something that we deal with regularly, and it's just a very real reality and something that we have to consider. Romina Garber is Argentinian, so this is an Own Voices book. Of all the Latinx books I have read within the last couple of years, I want to say that this one included the most Spanish I've ever come across, and I loved that. I don't think that needs to be concerning to non-Spanish speakers because the author does repeat it in English afterwards, which I kind of found to be a little bit annoying because it was so frequent, but you know, you're not going to miss any information because, again, it is repeated in English. Maybe not exactly the same way that it was said in Spanish, but enough to provide all the context necessary for you to understand the message. Mano believes that she suffers from lunaritis, which is how they refer to her getting her period, and it's so bad the first few days that they actually give her medication to kind of knock her out, and she has these very fantastical dreams. This includes the chosen one trope, and there are a lot of comparisons that are being made to Harry Potter. I think it's very original in its own right, but you can see where Harry Potter influenced it, especially because there are Harry Potter references. These took me out of the story a little bit, but in the author's note, Romina does mention what Harry Potter did for her and how it was the first time she ever really belonged. And so I understand why she kind of used that to create this world, but as a place that others can find where they belong. When I first read this, I thought I was going to give it 4 stars, but honestly, the more I sit on it and the more I appreciate how authentic it felt, I'm just going to go ahead and give it 5 stars. I can't wait for the second book. I really liked the writing. I loved the cultural aspects of it. I loved that every character had a Latinx name. Representation is so important, and off the top of my head, I can't think of any own voices Argentinian reviewers that I know, but if you are one, please be sure to leave me a comment. If you've read this and reviewed this, I would love to link to your review, because to me everything felt very, very authentic and very cared for and very intentional and thoughtful, but I'm not Argentinian, so I can't really speak to that as an own voices reviewer would. If this has been on your radar, definitely pick it up. Have you read Lobizona? What did you think about it? Feel free to let me know in the comments below. I was also sent a couple of Lobizona stickers with the ARC and the finished copy, and I would love to give a couple of these away. So if you're interested, leave me a comment letting me know what your favorite wolf or werewolf story is. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and don't forget to hit the bell to be notified when I upload new videos. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.